And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Can people see that? Kind of.
Can you see that? Maybe.
Today we're talking about World Conquerors. This isn't a review, it's a preview. It's a game from Guerrilla Games, who's made great games in the past like Battle Stations and Lifeboats. We're just going to jump right into it and then tell you some more about it at the end.
Here we go.
So here's the board for World Conquerors. Now you have to remember that this is not final, although some of the things you see may be final production, but this is basically a prototype version of the game. And there's several tracks at the bottom. We have a supply cost track, which I'll explain in a moment. We have an Empire Mark track and bonus mark. This bonus mark is important. The Empire Mark is basically a victory point track to show how many territories you've conquered. If you conquer the world at any point during the game, you win. However, if you don't, the player who has conquered the most territories at any single turn is the winner. So if I conquer 14 territories in my second turn and 12 on my third turn, I still have 14 as my final score. And then a turn order here. There's 4 turns in the game. Each player goes during a turn. Each player has a pile of cubes that they're going to have. Now these are supply cubes that you're going to have in front of you, but when you place them onto the board, onto a region, then it's going to become an army, like shown here. And you start the game with 6 of them, and at the beginning of your turn, you're going to get armies equal to wherever this bonus mark is. So on the first player is going to get 4. But this bonus mark goes up 1 at the end of each player's turn, so the next player will get 5, etc. So the advantage to going first, you don't get as many armies. Now, when it's your turn, that's the first thing you do is you take the power equal to the bonus value, and then you will draw cards. Now you're going to start the game with 3 cards, and then you'll draw a card every time it's your turn. But not only you, every other player also gets to draw a card on your turn. Now let's look at these cards. These cards show famous world leaders: Gustav II, Napoleon, Catherine, Saladin, Ashoka, Genghis Khan, George Washington, Adolf Hitler. Great leaders, wicked leaders, terrible leaders, etc. They're all in here, but they're all famous leaders through history, and there's a big deck of them. And the game, if you kickstart this game, you will also get an expansion that comes with more of these leaders in it, and then there's even that super special secret expansion where you can get your own, you pick your own person. You are the leader with your own power, and you can see the Kickstarter page for more information about that. But these cards can be played in 3 different ways, and one of them is at the beginning of your turn. At the beginning of the turn, you must have a coronation. You pick one of these leaders. Let's say I pick Gustav II here, and put them. I don't want to pick Gustav II. I want to pick someone better. Let's pick Catherine. No, not Catherine. How about, let's see here, George Washington. Yay, George Washington. So I pick him as my leader. Now, when I pick him as my leader, I'm going to take my pawn that represents him and put it in his home territory, which is the USA, and put one of my armies there. If someone else had happened to be in that territory, that person is removed. Ha 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 ha. However, that person will get armies equal to wherever the bonus mark is, even if it's my own. So if I kick myself out of a country, I get tokens equal to the bonus marker. So you can decide to do that on your turn. Now, when this person's in front of me, he's only going to be in front of me this turn. Next turn, I'm going to put someone new in front of me. But there's a couple things about it. There's 2 lines of text on a card, and when we look at the top line doesn't matter right now. It's the bottom line that matters. George Washington will add 1 die to each attack you attempt against the opponent controlling Britain. So if there was someone controlling Britain, then if I attack that person, I get an extra die. That's a special ability that George Washington has. He also has a special ability down here, a goal. His goal is North America. So if I control all of North America, I'm going to get a bonus at the end of my turn. So I say, fine. So I'm going to attack Canada first. Now, can I attack Canada? Oh yeah, I got plenty of cubes. So I declare an attack on Canada. Now the way an attack works is you get 1 die for each country that you control that's adjacent to the country you're attacking. So 1 die. The defender gets 1 die, plus 1 die for each country that they control that's defending, that's adjacent to the defending country. Now, in this instance, there's no one, so someone else will roll another die, and the higher die will win, with ties going to the defender. If you're rolling multiple dice, then the multiple die guy will win. It's a very simple concept. For example, here, if these are the 2 dice that are rolled, then white wins. If these are the 2 dice that are rolled, then black wins because black rolled the highest die. A 6 beats a 3. The extra die doesn't matter. So if I win, I put a cube in there. If I lose, however, I must lose equal to the supply costs. You know, when you make a war, you have to pay your supply costs. Now, it's assumed that if you win the war, then you are getting your supply costs from the country that you are conquering. So I have to pay my supply costs, and the supply cost goes up. So if I lose another battle, now I have to pay 2 cubes. If I lose another battle, now I have to pay 3 cubes. And if you ever get to the point where you cannot pay for your loss, then you're not even allowed to attempt the attack. So at this point, I'm not even allowed to attempt another attack because my supply cost now is 4. Now, you can use your ruler or a general, if you have a general on the board, and you can tip them over to force a reroll of a die if they are in the region being attacked or in an adjacent region. Anytime you want, you can play a card from your hand and place a general in the region shown on a card. So if I was attacking Canada and I happen to have a Canada card in my hand, I could play it and put my general in Canada. And if I played it later on to move, I could move my general from Canada to South Africa. General's not a troop, he's just there to force that re-rolling of the die. At the end of my turn, after I'm done with all my attacks, I count up how many areas I control. 2, that's really good, Vasel. And I go down here and mark my score, and it goes to the next person. And then I look, did George Washington, does he control North America? No, he does not, so I don't get my bonus. But if I had gotten my bonus, I would have got 4 more cubes. Now, you can play some cards on other people's turns and such, and that's another thing I want to point out. If I had not played George Washington as a leader, I could also play him from my hand anytime I want as a special action card. Here it says add 1 die to this attack against the opponent controlling Britain. So if I was playing, I could just play this card from my hand. And then you got to be careful with hand control, controlling your hand, because you only have so many cards that you're going to be able to play. You draw 1 card for each person's turn. But a card can change the course of a battle. So the card can be used for 3 things. As a ruler, as you start your turn. As a general, where you play a card and you can put a general in the country, in the region mentioned there. And as a special action card. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is when you attack, you get all these, you get dice for adjacent countries, but sometimes you're going to have to attack overseas. If you attack overseas from one country to another country, then you must roll 1 die as the attacker. And when you attack the Middle East always gets 2 dice on the defense. And that's basically the game. It's very simple after 4 turns, or you see who has the highest empire mark here on the board. Or if someone conquers the world and kills everyone else, then that person is the winner. Now, World Conquerors plays from 1 to 4 players. You can play it solitaire, which means that you can, basically you're just trying to see how many points you can get, or can you conquer the world in a certain amount of turns. Okay, I guess we saw that. Okay. One of the things that you're going to notice about this game is it's fast. It really, and it kind of snowballs. The whole point scoring thing reminded me of Colosseum. Yep. But it just, the first turn you kind of expand a little. The second turn you bam, and then that third and fourth turn, there's that chance to take over the world. Yeah. Yep. What you want to do is you want to play the right leader card at the right moment. There's a lot of cool leaders in the game, a lot of uncool leaders too. Yeah. Some of the leaders, all the leaders have two abilities. You can either play it as a I guess you could call it a one-time action. Yeah, an action card. And then you can also play it as a action that lasts your entire turn. So I like that. Or a general. Yeah, or I like that duality. And it also has the thing at the end of your turn, if you've completed this, kind of like a goal type thing. So the leader cards, I think, is what really helps this kind of differentiate itself from everything else, because it's what drives the entire game, I think. There's a couple neat things for Kickstarter supporters too. I like the expansion that you get expansion, more leaders for people who kickstart, and then for people who really kickstart, do the really big bonus, you get your own leader card with your own special ability you choose, and then that comes like in a set, and anyone who kickstarts gets that set of cards, that specific set, which won't be given to anybody else, and that's always cool to have something that no one else has. That is right? Cool. Yeah. This is very similar to Risk, I would say, but I say that being someone who doesn't like Risk, this makes Risk very simple, fast, and it gives the exact same feeling. I'm trying to conquer the world. I pushed you back, now you push me back. But to me, the leader cards really focus it. When you look at your leaders and you pick what you're going to do, and you put that out, and you say, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take. This is my strategy for this turn. I'm playing Genghis Khan. It's all about attacking as many people as possible. George Washington. I'm going to attack England. Take over North America. Some work better at the beginning of the game. Some work better on. Some are great leaders, but the action is even better. Yeah. And so you're kind of, oh, which one do I want to use?
Yeah. Yeah, so the cards is where you actually make your decision, most of your decision. Then, of course, you have to, of course, decide what route you're going to take as far as where you're going to attack. I would like to say, instead of just saying it's like Risk, I'd like to say it's more like card-driven Risk light. Because that's really what, I guess, from my point of view at least, that's a more accurate estimation of what World Conquerors is like. You have these cards in your hand, and they, in a real way, determine what you're going to do on your turn. So, I think it was a cool thing.
So check it out, Kickstart it, get it out. I can't wait to see the finished product.
Yeah, finished product.
A small, fast, little world conquering game.
Yeah, this is actually the artwork here. It's not just something that we made. It's something that...
well, if it's something we made, there'd be a couple stick figures.
I know, right? Exactly.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.